Smart 24, driving business.
Good evening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Business Today. I'm Rona Nahabwe together with Winnie Winza Nakauchi for the sign language interpretation. We have a lot lined up for you tonight, but before we get into it, here's the latest headlines. In Business Today, EAC integration intensifies roadmap for Uganda's Kiswahili implementation. Reliance on authorized economic operators fancied to fix Uganda's trade barriers. And Uganda Police Force presents a 135% performance of the targeted non-tax revenue for the year of 2021-2022. You're welcome once again to Business Today. I'm Rona Nahabwe. Now, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries is in the final stages of formulating an authority that will ensure monitoring the influx of fake agro-inputs on the market along the entire agrochemical life cycle. According to Bwino Chakulaga, the State Minister of Agriculture, the National Drug Authority is in charge of overseeing the veterinary medicine, agro-inputs, human drugs, and the cabinet believed that it was overburdened. Pedson Mumbele reports.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, agricultural inputs such as seeds, fertilizers, pesticides and vaccines are the most affected by counterfeits to the extent that over 60% of the herbicides and pesticides on the market are fake. This, together with numerous complaints from farmers, according to State Minister of Agriculture Bwino Chakulaga, has pushed Cabinet to create an authority to ensure monitoring the influx of counterfeit agrochemical inputs on the market across the whole agrochemical life cycle.
So, Cabinet took a decision to let the National Drug Authority concentrate on human medicine, human drugs and equipment, medical equipment, and leave the function of agrochemicals, veterinary drugs, and other agricultural inputs as well as equipment to a new authority.
A plenary that was convened on Wednesday, 2nd March 2022 followed concerns by Member of Parliament that out of the Uganda's 41 trillion budget, the country risked losing about 6 trillion on substandard and counterfeit products if their spread is not nipped. Paris Kaumi, the Deputy Executive Director, Uganda National Farmers Federation, therefore notes that the formulation of an authority has been long overdue.
The authority is paramount, and as I can say, to us it was long overdue. You will see that the way issues are handled with authorities is quite different from the way that things are handled normally. What we have been having as a challenge under the Ministry of Agriculture was the fact that the Crops Inspection and Certification Department or Directorate, where agricultural chemical control falls, has been a little bit underfunded. I can say very few inspectors. The agricultural police, they are very few in number, but we think that with the creation of the authorities, it will improve.
Later in 2022, General David Kasura Chomkama, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, revealed how he went to the container village to purchase agricultural inputs but came back with fake ones. It's from this basis that he threatened to shut down businesses that sell fake agricultural inputs.
I put everybody on notice of fake agro inputs. Really, I am coming after you. I've come after you. We've had... Absolutely. Because I learned something else, I recently attended another conference and I discovered that we are actually in the process of killing ourselves.
So Cabinet, in a special intervention, took a decision that much as we are going through what we are calling rationalization of government agencies, we create a new authority to specifically address issues of agrochemicals, vet drugs, agricultural inputs, and equipment. And
Data from the Economic Policy Research indicates that substandard and counterfeit products in particular stifle the growth of genuine businesses because of the unfair competition. They are usually cheaper and therefore can easily drive genuine businesses out of the market.
And therefore, I have great expectation and great hope that once the authority is created successfully, the control of fake inputs will be improved.
In another development, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with MAIF and Uganda National Farmers Federation, have organized the second National Agricultural Show themed empowering Ugandan agripreneurs in Jinja, where the First Lady will be the chief guest. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, moving on from that, in a bustling world of international trade, importers and exporters face numerous challenges. In Uganda, these challenges are amplified by factors such as prevalence of informal operations and need to navigate complex international markets. The country's involvement in the World Customs Organization program of authorized economic operators has been a positive step aiming to streamline the trading process. Let's have a look at this report.
According to WOBOS, in December 2020, imports increased by 40.8%, while exports increased by about 46.5% in comparison to December 2019. Importers and exporters grapple with a range of challenges that impact their operations and profitability. Due to the fact that 80% of importers work informally, one of the major challenges they encounter is variable costs of fuel. This puts a strain on SMEs, especially when combined with other costs like customs duties and port fees. It is difficult to engage in international trade with informal operators since they frequently lack the appropriate qualifications and compliancy with quality standards.
It beats our understanding when we now have to import most of the raw materials. The intermediary products that work in production and manufacturing have to be imported, and then you have to again re-export to other countries. In future, this also, not even in future, presently and also in future, this will affect our cross-border trade and opportunities that will be coming, like the African Continental Free Trade Area. We find that we are not competitive on the market. Then also, another challenge is most of our importers here, those that are in trade, you find that they are not educated. They are still using informal trade, and informal trade in most cases is a challenge to international trade. You can't trade international while you're still informal. That is why you'll find that most of the protocols that come are not helping small and medium-sized enterprises.
The fact is that nowadays in Uganda, it's so hard to operate if you haven't formalized. The government is putting several policies, and a person in business who is not ready to comply, you can be forced to comply. First of all, like the recovery fund. You cannot access the recovery fund if you haven't formalized. You're supposed to have a business name, you're supposed to have a TIN number, you're supposed to meet your tax obligations.
Although challenges still exist, Uganda's participation in the World Customs Organization Authorized Economic Operators Program and the signing of the Mutual Recognition Agreement shows the nation's dedication to overcoming these obstacles. This agreement fosters closer trade ties between Uganda and other countries and promotes smoother import and export activities, benefiting businesses engaged in international trade.
Given all this information now, if the systems between the different government departments are integrated, then that means the information will be asking will possibly be a less, because you already have information. If it is in the system of the URA, Investment Authority would possibly be able to pick up that information and still be able to use it for their own registration purposes. But this is all aimed at easing doing business in Uganda, but also in making sure that we facilitate the investors who are coming into Uganda, so that then they're able to have an investment climate that will also propel them to maybe bring in more investment, or even call upon their colleagues to also come and invest in the nation.
So it is going to improve our trade relations with our major trading partner, China. And to us in Uganda, an authorized economic operator is someone Uganda Revenue Authority has vetted. That's why there are not many, 118. We have vetted them in terms of tax compliance. We have vetted them in all spheres, both domestic taxes, tax investigations, customs, other government agencies.
For this new initiative. But the purpose of this new initiative, to ease the whole process of clearing goods, both by National Bureau of Standards and then URA. So all the bottlenecks in tax clearance processes, they are going to be eased, because these companies are going to enjoy VIP treatment. So I think this is a very good initiative of facilitating trade.
There is an intensive need for sensitizing traders about Authorized Economic Operators Program, establish trust and credibility with international buyers, for they often require proper documentation, proof of compliancy with regulations and assurance of quality.
The biggest challenge you'll have in Uganda is that we have few companies that are registered as AOEs. So you'll find China benefits more than us. And it needs a lot of sensitization.
This will contribute to job creation, increased investments, and sustainable economic development, hence reducing bureaucratic hurdles and pave way for a more efficient trading experience. Bernia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Let's now look at what's new with the electricity sector. Despite the Ministry of Energy recording a 2% increase in electricity access, reaching 20% from the previous year, 18%, the country still faces significant challenges in the energy sector. While Uganda boasts of surplus electricity production, issues such as demand energy and unbalanced energy mix persist. These challenges pose obstacles as Uganda strives for industrialization and the lower middle income economy. Unfortunately, access to electricity is a crucial factor for development, and it still faces a grim of outlook due to the extended completion of the timeline of the Karuma hydropower dam. Take a look. Only 1.9 million out of approximately 9.1 million households in Uganda have access to electricity, which accounts for only 19% of the total. Despite the significant investments in electricity infrastructure, primarily through concessional loans, such as the recent hybrid mechanism for customer connections, where a down payment of 200,000 shillings was required. The majority of the connected households are located in urban areas like Kampala, Mukono, Wakiso, Barara, Jinja and Gulu, and this leaves a large portion of households without access to hydro energy.
We have plans to, as we extend the distribution network, we have a plan that makes us look back to improve the intensification and densification programs. Before I mean, when you connect in the village, you are attracting more connections. When you take a distribution network to a village, for example, people who have not been thinking about building there will build. Maize mills, what, and all that. All loading on the transformer that we have installed. So it requires us to go back and upgrade that, transformer.
Engineer David Birimumaso, the Acting Assistant Commissioner of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, defended the ministry's performance by highlighting their efforts in obtaining distribution channels, addressing challenges such as vandalism and aging infrastructure, as well as advocating for tariff reductions. He emphasized that Uganda's electricity production exceeds its annual interior demand significantly, with 1,678 megawatts produced annually compared to the demand of 850 megawatts.
Of right-of-way. Right-of-way is the way for us to be able to erect the power transmission and distribution infrastructure. And these challenges come from us, the consumers, who want to be compensated for the land we are going to lose. So that one is very key, and it is affecting us because it is taking a lot of time because some people feel dissatisfied with the values which are given to them. So the process becomes longer than we anticipate. Energy is energy which is supplied but not consumed. Now, our consumption capacity is still very low because I mentioned that we have capacity to supply 1,600 megawatts, but our demand is 850 megawatts. That's almost half of the energy we can supply. So that is a very big challenge because it now comes back to us. Why are we not consuming the energy we are generating?
The $638 million project funded by the World Bank Electricity Access Scale-Up project set to start off this financial year to ensure 1 million connections to the national grid in 5 years will focus on scaling up access to electricity for the undeserved population, including refugees, host communities, rural and poverty-stricken communities.
Which is expected to start this financial year because project financing agreements were signed in February this year. So anytime it will be announced that it is starting, it will involve connecting or adding at least 1 million connections. That means by the time it ends, I mentioned that we have so far connected 1.9. We have 1.9 million connections. So if from scale up we expect 1 million, it can increase slightly from that. So at least by the end of the project, we will have 2.9 million connections. But also
The ministry also announced that Karuma hydropower dam construction, which was to be completed this year in August, shall now be delayed up to August 2024. The fourth term completion dates are now being pushed. The construction of the 600 megawatts power facility began in December 2013 with expectations of completion in December 2018. Delays in land acquisitions have seen new dates of 2019, August 2022, August 2023, all being default. Karuma Dam project, 85% funded through credit facilities from Exim Bank of China, shall be the largest power generating installation in Uganda.
We had a target to have Karuma commissioned in August this year, but we have extended it to August 2024. So we expect that all the entire Karuma hydropower plant will be 100% complete and ready for commissioning in August 2024. But currently we have so far tested and connected to the grid 300 megawatts from Karuma. So we are at 50% on grid from Karuma hydropower plant.
These revelations all came during a press conference where the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, together with partners, announced the Power and Electricity International Expo set for 13th July at Omasho Grounds, seeking to connect the different stakeholders in solar electricity, including policymakers, manufacturers, importers, and traders. More than 100 exhibitors from Uganda, India, United Arab Emirates, and the UK are expected to attend. Janet Daniel, Rona Nahabwe compiled this report. Uganda Police Force has presented a 135% performance of the targeted non-tax revenue for the financial year of 2021-2022. According to Auditor General's report, 33.1 billion shillings was released, which is a big contributor to the growth on non-tax revenue compared to the other NTR sources. We have a look at this report.
The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament discovered while studying the Auditor General's report for the years 2021-2022 that Uganda Police collected over 33 billion shillings in fines and penalties, making it one of the largest contributors to non-tax revenue. However, only 6% of the money is returned to the police force for its own welfare expenditure. Meanwhile, projections from the Police Finance and Administration units show that the force is capable of collecting up to 100 billion annually for its services.
The borders are moving on. You see even how we drive, changing lanes and so on and so on. That would be revenue, and order would come in itself. Only improve on technology, request for even budgets to support your technology, and I am sure next time you come here, you might even report 1 trillion in collections, and they will be ordered by us.
According to legislators, while it's a good practice to contribute to the country's revenue through fines and penalties, police should not use this avenue to avoid enforcing traffic laws. The legislators say many careless drivers have contributed to many road crashes simply because they pay a penalty.
Police now would be aiming to collect little penalty by enforcing, telling people to follow the law. Now, the moment you say that they should increase their revenue, then you are saying people should become disorderly, encouraging crime. In fact, police would be the last person to be talking about non-tax revenue. So wouldn't it be, police, why wouldn't they tell us how they are planning to collect less penalties in this country by advising how people should comply? Honorable Frederick.
Because I would be expecting that now that you are enforcing through making people to pay, the rate of accidents, the rate of road crashes will be going down. How come we are having the two rise up at a concurrent level? Okay. Yeah.
The lawmakers say countries like Tanzania, Rwanda, among others, are strict when it comes to road usage, compared to Uganda, where very many users are careless and have no respect for the laws.
Here we travel out. We see how motorists along those roads out there are very conscious of making any mistake, because any mistake there is a source of revenue. And I think the kind of usage of our roads here, the carelessness in which we move on these roads, especially the motorists, would attract a lot of revenue for this country. Because that mistake alone will cost you.
In their response, police informed the committee that its priority is making sure that the road users obey the road safety measures, but some individual elements defy them, leaving them with no option than making them pay penalties.
By enhancing the enforcement of EPS, actually, we are fighting crime. We are not interested. We are enforcing. Now, like you note in the receivables, what Honorable Nandala has talked, those are areas of people who get fines. Because the express penalty is supposed to be paid in 28 days from the time a receipt is issued to a person who has flouted. But over time, people have been dodging, and that's why we are now into enforcement. And in addition,
so long as the road user behavior is worsening day by day, and you know the reasons, collection of revenue, because we shall be enforcing for you to change your behavior, will go high. Therefore, the emphasis should be on road user behavior in order to allay fears of the honorable members.
The lawmakers also raised concerns of why some constituents lack police posts and the ones that have are in the dire state, and according to police, their budget cannot enable them deploy personnel in all parts of the country.
And the police officers have refused to enter into those things because they are very hot during the day and very cold during the night, which was an unnecessary expenditure, I believe. So when we are making these comments, the auditors did not go up country. And secondly,
this recruitment we intended to recruit. This even talks about our presence in various police areas. Our numbers are low. That is true. Our numbers are low. We wanted, for instance, we had put it in our budget that we recruit this year a sizable number. Even considering that within 2-3 years we shall be going in for a general election. But because we were told because of the budget constraints, we will not be allowed to recruit.
Police was allocated over 980 billion shillings in the financial year 2021-2022, and 99% of that money was released, which was fully utilized. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Business Today will now take a short break, but we will return with more. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel, so visit today at Plot 15-19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Makes a meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda. The taste of Uganda. The taste of Uganda.
Smart 24, driving business.
You're still watching Business Today, and of course, thank you for sticking with us. Now, moving on, and in a significant move towards strengthening regional integration, the East African community has successfully advanced its agenda by embracing Swahili as a common language among member countries. This strategic initiative aims to enhance communication and facilitate trade across the region, fostering economic growth and prosperity. Naomi Mutumba has more of this report.
In a significant stride toward regional integration, partner states of the East African community have collectively developed a roadmap to implement Kiswahili as an official language. Each member state has taken steps to fulfill the objectives outlined in the roadmap, with Uganda placing emphasis on teaching Kiswahili in lower secondary education.
The IALA passed a resolution in 2016 that this should be the second official language, and then as I said, UNESCO has also done the same thing. So here we are now to kickstart the awareness program in Uganda. And I'm glad that a lot of people have taken interest. I'm receiving information from people who know Swahili in Uganda, who want us to know that they are there, so that if we need them, we can invite them.
Within 1,000 years or 500 to 200 years, Swahili will be spoken in Japan, in France, in America. Swahili will be international, a world language.
Language is a very important component of integration. By Ugandans not speaking Swahili, it in a way it will affect us. You need a means of communication. You need a language that you will communicate with other East African members. For this case, if we have English, but Swahili is very important because we already have two countries, or how many, all of us, I think we have some components of people who speak Swahili.
The need to integrate Swahili education and training programs within education institutions at all levels should be considered. By equipping the youth with proficiency in Swahili, this will help them gain a competitive edge in the job market and enhance their regional mobility. Additionally, the knowledge of Swahili will open up doors for entrepreneurship, trade and collaboration within the EAC region due to having a common language for communication.
And the studies or the results were showing that the teachers in Uganda were very many, to an extent that most of them were not even employed. So that is the basis for what that statement was said, or from where that statement was made. So according to the data that we have from that capacity assessment on the development and use of Kiswahili in the East African community, Uganda had more teachers of Kiswahili than other partner states, and most of them were not employed, where he said that even they could be taken up to be employed by other countries that are in need.
Kusambaza Kiswahili, I'm using Kiswahili, is to propagate. Kusambaza, propagate is what we want. And do you know that the common person, like I said earlier, the common person of Uganda, especially the business community, they use 80% Kiswahili than they would use English if you chose the two languages, you see? And our traders are now very national. We are carrying from my own constituency of Vulo East, we carry mechanized to Sudan, South Sudan, Juba, and other places. My people who go to trade there don't know English. They don't, but they use Kiswahili.
On the other hand, government through the Ministry of East African Community Affairs has expressed concerns about South Sudan's decision to impound Uganda's maize flour due to allegations that it is contaminated with aflatoxins. Various initiatives have been proposed to the government of South Sudan, including trucks and cargo must be released and secured at one border crossing at Elegu. Products must be tested using a laboratory accredited by UNBS, URA, the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Agriculture, and counterparts from the Republic of South Sudan. Uganda is still awaiting feedback from South Sudan.
Our traders were accused of exporting goods that have aflatoxins. Now there's a dispute. Our traders say their goods do not have aflatoxins. The South Sudan people say they are aflatoxins, so they will not allow them to be sent into the market. So they impounded the trucks. Then we tried to send the inspectors of Uganda Bureau of Standards and the Republic of South Sudan Bureau of Standards to work together to verify whether there were aflatoxins, but that became difficult. So what we have done, we have now asked the East African community to send independent inspectors at the illegal border. The trucks will come from Sudan, park at the illegal border. The inspectors will come and inspect and then tell us whether actually they have aflatoxins. But
Swahili, a language widely spoken in the East African region, holds the potential to bridge linguistic and cultural gaps, facilitating communication and understanding among trading partners. By adopting Swahili as a common language, exporters can navigate non-tariff barriers more effectively and promote seamless trade interactions. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
In that same regard, Prime Minister Right Honorable Robin Anabanja has unveiled the performance of the Service Delivery Assessment Report 2022. This uses formula allocations based on poverty report, population and refugee management. Nsinjilo was ranked among the best local governments at the district levels, and according to assessment study, there has been improvement in PDM and Enyoga transparency as well as accountability. There is also improvement in environmental and social requirements, local revenue realization and monitoring, as well as service supervision. Let's have a look.
Government of Uganda introduced intergovernmental fiscal transfer reform in 2014-2015 with an aim to improve on service delivery at local government district levels. Today, the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, has revealed that there is need to prioritize poverty eradication through commercial agriculture.
Modo and Enyoga in your respective local governments and help our people at that level to prioritize poverty eradication through commercial agriculture and help them to choose enterprises which are of high value. I wish to state that whereas there have been some success, there are also some challenges. And some of these challenges are internal. Some of them are internal, as you already know, while others are external. And some of them include the inadequate counterpart fund.
Additionally, Right Honorable Justin Kasule Lumumba, Minister for General Duties in the Prime Minister's office, stated that they are working on local government structures as well as a tool that will direct the implementation of the parish development model to collect data and hold households accountable for their incomes.
The local communities through the assessment on service delivery, which creates rich evidence that can ably guide government decision-making processes of at strategic level. So we have been making these assessments at the level which you all know very well. We are now working out a structure and also a tool so that we now get to do the assessment at the lowest level possible. Since PDM is at parish level, assessment being done at the household level, we are now, and you are aware that we are going to have the national census. That must also generate data to help us implement the parish development model at household level.
According to Ali Tagore, Assistant Budget Commissioner for the Director for Budget at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, a significant amount of money was lost because not all the 5 performance areas, including cross-cutting water and environmental education, health, and micro-scale irrigation, were balanced across all evidence based on formula allocations.
The reason why you may not notice a positive gain at macro level, you need to balance all of the sectors. If you perform well in water, you get a positive. You perform poorly in education, you get a negative. So the net increment may be negligible. So that's why some of them say we need to see the impact of our rating. It's just because of failure to balance the sector performance. I go now to the next slide where I look at the least performing. How were they affected? A case of Serere district underwater. Serere dropped from 135th in 2021 to 146th in 2022. The formula allocated Serere 579.8 million. The assessment, when we factored in the assessment, it lost 98.5 million. And so that gave it a net of 481.3, a drop of 17%.
In 2022 assessment service delivery report for the local government, Isingiro and Serere district were the worst performing districts. The allocation of money for services delivery is based on the performances service delivery report, which Ministry of Finance Planning and Economic Development uses to release the resources. Andrew Barije, Samuel Chirimunde, Smart 24, Business Today.
Connotations of Islamic banking. The start of the current financial year has come with notable amendments. The Financial Institutions Act and the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Amendment, for instance. From both, the former outed the Sharia Advisory Council that provided in Islamic banking, while the MDI amendment paved way for the Islamic microfinance. Tonight, Dr. Sulaiman Ruja, the manager at Islamic Investments at Microfinance Support Center, joins us to figure out the direction of the financial facility. Thank you, Dr. Sulaiman, for joining us. I appreciate your time and your expertise. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me? Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Sulaiman. I appreciate your time and expertise, and we just want you to help us dissect all we need to know about Islamic banking. Thank you for joining us. And to begin with, first it was the Financial Institutions Amendment Bill that was passed in 2016 and that provided for Islamic banking, and now just recently the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Amendment Act. How do both provisions differ in entrenching Islamic banking? If you could enlighten us.
Thank you very much. The Financial Institutions Amendment Act was enacted in Parliament in 2016, which brought on board Islamic banking business. Unfortunately, until today, we have not had any single bank operating Islamic banking in Uganda because of certain issues of governance in the central bank. Then the microfinance taking also just recently amended in 2023, but that one brings on board Islamic banking in the tier 3 institution. Is about the tier 1, that is commercial banks. So neither the commercial banks nor the microfinance institutions have started, because both of them, they are regulated by Central Bank of Uganda, to settle out before it can start licensing Islamic banking business.
What type of mileage does this prove for Uganda, it being part of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation? You just mentioned something there, that there are issues with governance when it comes to central bank. Why do you think it has taken it that long, especially since we have seen the same in other neighboring countries? What should this milestone present to Ugandans?
Uganda is a member country of Organization of Islamic Countries, if I have heard your question very well. We have enjoyed this membership since 1970s, early 1970s.
Apologies, I think we just lost Dr. Sulaiman there.
Since
But once the internet
1970s,
connection
Uganda has
comes back, we should be able to get that conversation. It is quite insightful and it is quite a catch. Now, moving on with business today, the latest, oh, we still have you? Dr.
Yes,
Sulaiman.
I'm here. I can see you. I've just said Uganda is a member country of Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's quite clearly.
Uganda is a member country of Organization of Islamic Cooperation. This is a member organization, 57 member organization. Uganda is among them. By the way, we have countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Libya, Malaysia, Indonesia. So Uganda is among them. We have tremendously benefited from this membership. And you can see that Uganda was selected to host the regional hub office of the Islamic Development Bank. It is here. They have just set up in Uganda here. And you are going to see much more of foreign direct investments coming in. Already IDB has started coordinating the Muslim world. These people who are interested in Sharia compliance investments to come and invest in Uganda. The question is not money to them. The question is where to invest, and the destination of their investments should be Sharia compliant. You have seen Islamic Development Bank teaming up or partnering the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You will see much more coming. And by the way, we are selected among there are like 5 countries in this part of the sub-Saharan Africa. It is Uganda. So the coming on board or the enactment of the amendment of these acts to allow Islamic banking to start operating in Uganda is going to bring on board investments, especially in the Middle East and Asia, people who are interested in Islamic investments.
When it comes to key benchmarks, we know that this market presents a number of profits and no interests. Are you not worried about the kind of competition this market is going to present? Aren't you worried about the threat from banks, since it's going to be free interest and the profits? And of course, you're going to have many people move on to Islamic banking because of what offers. Isn't that a threat to you as one of the people that are pushing forward this financial facility?
This one should not be a worry because the very conventional banks which we have in Uganda, they are going to be the ones to operate Islamic banking business. A few banks, I hope, are going to come, international banks, they are going to come from outside. But the players we have in Uganda today, they are the ones going to operate Islamic banking windows or subsidiaries. So it is not a competition. And by the way, Islamic banking is just complementing. It's just going to complement what the conventional banking has so far done in the market. It's not a competition. It's just going to be the same banks. They are going to Islamic banking. As you see, for example, agent banking and bank assurance. All these amendments came along with the Islamic banking. Agent banking does not compete the existing banking services, and neither does assurance compete. It's just bringing on board more business. The same is going to happen with the Islamic banking. It's not a competition. It's just a kind of tapping into the unbankable, a big the population has not been banked. Islamic banking is just going to complement the conversion.
All right, Dr. Sulaiman, we appreciate your time and taking this, of course, precious time of yours to help us understand Islamic banking, but we should be able to take forward this conversation and make it more insightful than it should have been. Moving on with business today and getting closer to the end of business today, of course, the latest gold-backed digital token sales by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe collected a total of 246 million, taking one step further in purging the market of bad surplus cash typically used for fuel parallel market. The tokenized digital currencies were developed in an effort to support the local currency and provide market with an alternative investment choice for customary practices chasing the US dollar on the black market. Let's have a look.
Zimbabwe released the gold-backed digital currency of peer-to-peer and peer-to-business transactions, as well as to act as store value as the country's currency continues to lose ground against the major currencies. The tokenized digital coins were to serve as an alternative investment option for the market as opposed to the conduct of chasing after the US on the parallel market, which was the norm.
That started selling today in the market. Pursuant to our resolution of the Monetary Policy Committee of 24 July 2022 and also our bank's press statement of 4 July 2022, the bank is today released the first batch of 2,000 Mosotunya gold coins to the market. Local agents commenced selling the gold coin on an agent basis at the initial price of $1,823.80 per gold coin, or Zimbabwe dollars 805,745.35, using the willing buyer, willing seller selling rate as at Friday, this last Friday. Gold coins can also be purchased in domestic currencies such as the South African rand, Botswana pula, Australian dollar, British pound, and euro. The bank shall publish from tomorrow, 26th of July 2022, the Mosotunya gold coin price by 8 a.m. on a daily basis, which shall be based on the previous day London Bullion Market Association LMBA PM6 this afternoon. So that's 5% to cover the cost of production and distribution of the gold coins. As you are aware, which is I would advise you, the gold coins have the following specifications. Number one, denominated in 1 ounce gold for the time being, because you might always increase the number of, they would reduce the weight so that this everyone can also be able to purchase. So it's like 1 ounce, quarter and 3/4 as time goes. Metal gold is there, and purity 22 carats, which is 91.67% purity. The diameter is 32 millimeters and weight 33.93 grams, and the shape is round. So they look like this. So when you sell them, the gold coins will be like this. The plastic, for Reserve Bank plastic, and the gold coins will be like this. And this is definitely pure gold, minted and distributed to Zimbabwe. This is what they look like. As we have advised you before, again, the gold coins, they can use for the asset status, meaning that they are liquid. Prescribed asset status for those pensioners that want to buy them, the pension companies, they use them, they prescribe asset status. Collateral acceptability, they agreed, they are accepted as collateral if you want to borrow from a bank or from any person you can give them as a security, as collateral. They are tradable, you can trade them in the market. And there are serial numbers. The serial number is, by the way, is on the edge of this gold coin. The edge, there's a serial number there. So the first one would be saying Z, 5 zeros and a 1. That would be the first gold coin. So we continue Z for Zimbabwe, and 0, 0, 0, 5 zeros up to then the number at the end. So that is this bearer certificate here is security document. If you look at it, you see the security figures as already advised in the press.
Prosper Kitambara, the development economist, maintained that the Zimbabwean government has reintroduced the tokenized digital coins to solve the hyperinflation that has been a recurring economic feature of the last 2 decades. Backed by a certain amount of gold which helps keep its value stable, this currency is tied to the market value of gold. Ideally, this involves having a certain measure of the gold reserves. According to the state-owned media reports, Zimbabwe in April had 350 kilograms of gold in reserves valued at $22.8 million at the current price, and intends to build reserves to around $100 million. The Southern African country is part of the African states like Nigeria, Ghana and South Africa that have introduced digital currencies, even as several others have plans in the works.
Bujumbura is currently immersed in monetary conflict following the central bank's decision to mop out old 5,000 and 10,000 currency notes dating back to July 2018. Debate has been ensued in light of the precondition that necessitates possession of a bank account to facilitate the swap. As the central bank cites shortage of such bills and financial market challenges, citizens are concerned about the collateral inconvenience to access services.
While economists applaud Burundi's central bank's decision to mop out old 5,000 and 10,000 bills as a step towards crucial monetary reforms, citizens are furious about the preconditioned swap policy attached to the decision, necessitating possession of bank accounts. The highly unbanked community is attributed to cultural conservatism of keeping wealth at home.
For the time being, I think this is a normal measure to replace notes, and that is if we do not take any other accompanying measures. I do not see how it creates the boost to growth and the economy directly, but this is the beginning for the government to be able to start reforms, a necessary awareness to really break this cultural conservatism, these practices that even otherwise are even among senior state executives.
Market operations have, however, been affected, as merchants and tax drivers, for example, decry shortage of banknotes where the swap policy is prefixed to account possession.
When you don't have a bank account, your old bills aren't replaced. It's impossible. They force us to open accounts at the bank when we have no means to add to an account. I have here a sum of the old 170,000 Burundian francs, which is about $54.8. I wanted to get gas from Gatumba, and I heard that if I don't have new bills, they can't give me gas. So I wonder how to deposit these notes in my boss's bank account, and I'll be forced to stay in Bujumbura, but I live inside the country.
Bank of Republic of Burundi attributes move to what it calls increased circulation in informal circuit that led to financial market stability and a shortage of withdrawn notes in many banks.
All right, we've come to the end of business today. As always, thank you for being such a good audience. We do have a quick look at our top stories. In business today, EAC integration intensifies roadmap for Uganda's Kiswahili implementation. Reliance on authorized economic operators funds it to fix Uganda's trade barriers. And Uganda Police Force presents a 135% performance of the targeted non-tax revenue for the year 2021-2022. Thank you once again for watching Business Today. Thank you once again for watching Business Today. I'm Rana Nahabwe, together with Winnie Wins and Akawachi for the sign language interpretation. In case you missed this, you could watch on our YouTube channel, or you could follow on our social media platforms, especially on our Twitter page, and be up to date with the latest business news within the region. I'm Rana Nahabwe. You have a good evening.